Welcome back. This is the Spurs 9501 podcast. This is Ray in London. I've got Steve in London. I've got Niko in Norway. Welcome, guys. Great win for
Thanks.
Tottenham yesterday. Niko, give us your initial thoughts on the win.
Yeah, I'm absolutely buzzing. It was a superb victory, and the fans back, watching the shape of the team, the passion, commitment, all the white flags, and yeah, I was so happy with the victory. Yeah, it was just amazing to finally see some unity on the pitch. I was surprised actually because I didn't expect that much, of course. So yeah, absolutely buzzing.
Yeah,
Perfect. Yeah.
great. And Steve, you were actually there, so tell us what the atmosphere was like and your thoughts.
To be fair, I'm not gonna lie, it was actually rocking. It was like from minute 1 to minute 90, 94. It was absolutely rocking. So yeah, it was good to see the fans back. Good to see some old friends that I haven't seen for a while. Spoke to a few new guys that are in and around our area. So yeah, it was a good experience in terms of that. It was kind of like just back to normal.
Yep.
The team got a really special. I did say this that the link. I think that when we had Pochettino, we had a link between the fans and the management, the manager, and we went completely the opposite when we went to Mourinho. And I've kind of think that we've kind of got that back. It's only one game, but it's evident that the fans are behind the team. The team then obviously soaked that all up, and obviously they gave a 10 out of 10 performance. So you can't fault them.
Yeah. A quick question I had, Steve, and I'll come to you, Niko, in a minute. But I saw the attendance is 58,000 and the capacity is 62. So were there some empty seats in the? Were they in the away end, or was there some Tottenham fans as well didn't come?
There was quite a few Tottenham fans that didn't attend, but I think what that is not so much that they didn't want to attend. I think that they've still got teething problems with the ticket exchange and
Okay.
the whole process, rolling out the process, because you don't have stadium cards anymore. It's all done like through like a Google Pass or Apple Wallet, so it's all fully digitalized, and you have to. I think some people may not have done like an amnesty. They had an amnesty period where if
Right.
you've inherited, say, your granddad's ticket and you're using that to get in, they gave you a time frame to kind of uh, basically put your hands up and say, look, this has been passed down from our family, which is not, it's nothing illegal. It's just
Mm.
literally they were just trying to get the right details so that they can obviously introduce the whole COVID passes and vaccination passports and things like that. So yeah, I think it was more so a teething problem. And again, I'm going to say another thing. Sunday, because it's the first game of the season, so fans are going to obviously be a little bit apprehensive, but the kickoff
Yep.
time doesn't help as well. Predominantly
4:30. Yeah.
3 o'clock kickoffs will always sell out. That's
Yep.
the best time on a Saturday, 3 o'clock. You've got a bit to do in the morning, and you've
Yep.
obviously got a bit of an evening left. So perfect time. So
Yep.
that didn't help
Uh,
it. So, yeah.
okay. No problem. So Niko, tell us about the game and all that, and what did we do really well that made us beat, Man City? What did we do really well? What do we do differently that we don't normally do in these matches?
Yeah, I was very. Um, I think it was very interesting with the balance in the team, especially the attacking third, which tend to look like the front three was a bit more narrow, and I think they had a very good positioning. They didn't press too high. They were just cutting off the passing lanes. So
Yep.
City had few options. They never got the rhythm in their play. So I think that was very good, and they looked very cohesive, like a unit. I think they were compact. Also, they used the flanks well. I just think, and also Skip and Højbjerg was very good with following the runs when they had like doubling on flanks. They followed into the penalty area. So I think it was it looked very balanced. And Dyer and Sanchez never had like this panic mode, which I thought they had under Mourinho. Like they just looked protected. Maybe that's the best word. So yeah, I was so impressed with how much he has actually done with the shape of the team. Like because it wasn't like we had to defend like we did with Jose. I was like panic mode, like in the penalty area. We looked more composed, I think, as a team under pressure. Yeah.
Okay, great. And Steve, what's your thoughts about why we did so well? What did we do differently that we haven't been doing previously?
I think that I've said a few times that I don't think that Hobier's positional sense is that great, and I think that he gets a free pass from a lot of Spurs fans because of his fist pumps and kind of like
Fights with Arteta on the touchline, yeah.
Yeah, so I think that he gets a free pass, but positionally and his positional play is absolute. He's like a bull in a china shop. He just chases after loose ends, and he was the most dribbled pass player in the league, and it's not hard to see why. But I will say that this time I was watching very carefully actually what Holbier was doing and what Skip was doing. And Skip was clearly told to stick tight to the right-hand side, and they were playing little acute passes to each other. But Tanganga was always showing for Skip, and Skip was always showing for Tanganga. And where they were doubling up down the right, Tanganga was dealing with most, and anything that he didn't deal with, Skip was dealing with. So for Hobier, he actually, the biggest compliment that I can say to Oliver Skip is he made Hobier look good yesterday, and I like him as a player. I just think that position you need a lot of positional discipline, and he doesn't have that, and a lot of football IQ. He doesn't have that. Is he an asset to the squad? Yes, but as he plays for Denmark, plays a little bit further forward, and the defensive responsibilities aren't his. He's kind of getting the ball and then giving and then sitting just as a shield in front of the shield, as it were.
Yeah. I think we all agreed that Tanganga was the man of the match. I think he had an amazing, brilliant game. He had Grealish and Sterling in his pocket. So what did you think of Tanganga's performance, Niko?
Excellent, because he made a marker. He closed down Sterling very quick, and you can see the crowd go really. Yeah, he set the tone very early, and that was really good. I think that the whole team got more confidence, and he looks so assured also, like compared to Sanchez. Not this match, but other matches, he's a bit like nervous and the coordination and everything. But Tanganga looks so much more composed, I think, as a player. So I was very impressed with him. I can't understand the loan links there.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe of course to see if he keeps fit and can play a whole season, but I can't see that happening now. He has to stay, of course. And but I just have a question for Steve. Do you think maybe also with Højbjerg that the lack of pace in that position is a problem? He's not the quickest.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of facets to his game. And what I tend to do is these sort of players that I highlight, I will next time I'm gonna make I will do this because it's good to kind of have an analytical. I just see how the manager lines up and things like that, and it's of interest to me anyway. And I'm gonna give him some special attention this year. Yeah. But I agree with you. There's facets to his game that don't suit that kind of. You don't get time. He doesn't have the confidence. He kind of half-heartedly asks for the ball. So yeah, there's a few things that I'm not. He's. I think that if he had somebody like a Wanyama next to him, he would be a completely different player. So I would almost say like a Basuma. If you put Basuma next to Holbier, then you have a very, very solid foundation there.
So
Interesting.
Steve, just for my benefit and just for our fans, Victor Wanyama, Dembele, that was like the beast and the beast together in midfield. So what's the difference between like the way Wanyama was playing and the way Højbjerg plays? Why is Wanyama a lot more effective than Højbjerg?
I don't think that's his. Wanyama was purely a destroyer, and Holbier is not that.
Yeah,
dominating.
dominating.
And for all intents and purposes, he literally, if he sees a target there, he'll go to close that. And it's so easy to literally just knock it past him, pass it past him, and he's almost a passenger. And I mean, if you look at the way that Liverpool play with their three holding players, they kind of allow Trent to push forward. They allow Robertson to push forward, and two of the three. So you've almost one will drop back and make a back three, and then you've almost got two banks of you've got two. You've got two people on the left, two on the right, because one will go like, so say for example, you've got Henderson. Henderson will drop and form a three, and then you'll have on the right, you'll have a Fabinho and Wijnaldum or Keita will just drop in at left back or right back, respectively. So it's interesting.
Different type of play, yeah. So, Niko, I wanted to ask you, I mean, let me ask you about a couple of players that were obviously like, what's your thoughts on Dele Alli, Steven Bergwijn? How do you think these guys did?
Yeah, I'll go with Ali first. It looks like he's evolving a bit because I have a bit of a problem now to define what's his role in the team. I think that will be more clear now after some matches because his fitness looks very good, of course. But my memory is, of course, of him in his younger days where he had that tenacity, that guile and the tricks and everything. But he looks like a different player, like physically and everything. I'm a bit excited to see how he develops because it's interesting with him. I heard another podcast earlier today. They said he played like an 8, so he was deeper. He ran the most of all the players in the match, so that's a very encouraging sign. But yeah, we'll see. He has to really impress this season. So and then Steven Bergwijn. Yeah, that miss was. Yeah, that could have cost us. He should have put that away, the second goal. When is he gonna break the goal scoring spell? You know, that's so important. So he worked very hard. I think he was very fluid on the counter attack. He did very much good in the match. So I would just play him now. You know, more confidence. Don't put him out of the team, and he needs confidence. So that's the basic
confidence
thing.
Play. Yeah. Okay, great. Thanks, Niko. Steve, Bergwijn and Dele, and also can you talk about Lucas Moura? How you think he did?
I'm just going to give some before we talk about the other two players.
Sure. No, go ahead. Yeah.
Jaffet Tanganga was an absolute beast.
Exactly.
To be fair, Jaffet Tanganga right now, when he came off, he went past the shelf side, went past the south stand, and he lapped it up, and everybody was singing he's one of our own, and he got a absolute standing ovation from like literally for about 5 minutes. No, everyone was stood up clapping him while he walked up as he came off. Now he's potentially saving the club 20 to 30 million. I think he has all the facets to be a top class centre back, and I don't see him as a right back at all, because you actually see that he doesn't commit to a challenge, he doesn't dive in, his reading of the space again time after time. Sterling didn't want to engage with him, and he pocketed Jack Grealish as well, and Mendy was coming forward. That he was literally There was times where there were 3 people against him, and he was aggressive in his challenge, but he was so composed. It's just you don't have a care in the
Yeah.
world. The only thing is I don't see him as a right back because he never gets to the byline, and
Yep,
you want
yep.
a right back to predominantly. I know they need to cover their duties defensively, but you do want him to chip in with the odd assist here and there. So, like, I'm not asking for a lot, but 5 assists from a season, I'd expect that from a decent right back. So maybe in the big games, play him there. But I think that future, he can play at centre back, and I think if he stays injury free, you've got a world class defender on our hands there.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah, fair point. Yeah.
But
Lucas
will
played very
Nuno
well.
trust him? Sorry, will Nuno trust him to be injury free? That's the main
Well, then that's I wouldn't wish injuries on any player, especially
Yeah.
one of our own players. I just hope that he stays injury free, and I've got no
Yeah.
doubt in his
But that's the only.
I think he will.
That's the only thing can stop him is if he gets injured, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, his performance speak for themselves, and the manager will pick him on merit, and I have no questions over his ability. Lucas played very well.
Yeah, sorry, go ahead, Steve. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought Lucas played very well. He had a very Lucas has kind of, I think he went through a little bit of a phase because Lucas is one of these. He's kind of almost he's remembered for his night in Ajax. He's remembered for he kind of doesn't really have a prolonged run in the team. And when he does, he kind of then doesn't have a position which is his own, because it's kind of like he was played as a number 10 under Jose, he was played as a right wing under Jose, and then he was played as a striker. So he kind of covered 3 positions, and it was a lot to ask for him when he went in, when he was out of the team for a long time, and he came in and played as the sole striker when Kane got injured. I think it was last year at some stage when Kane was out, and he didn't play very well. I'm not going to lie, but I think that in watching him in pre-season, he's actually doing the one thing that we all slate him for not doing, putting his head up, and he's looking, and he's playing he's playing very intelligent passes, and he's releasing the ball. Yes, he has some frustrating moments, but he's like Bergvin. They do all the hard bit, they do right. And then it's like the final delivery is just like, what you just do you know what I mean? It's just kind of you've undone what's gone before. I think Bergvin more at least has a final an end product.
Yep. Okay, great. Niko, I just wanted to ask you about the managers. So what did you see different yesterday in the match with City in terms of the play and the actual intent that was different to what Mourinho was doing? How was Nuno different to Mourinho? Explain that to our fans and viewers. What do you think?
That's very interesting because it's about also perception and how he is. He comes across, Nuno.
I mean, we had this record of losing 23 points from winning positions, and we thought again City were going to score and we're going to lose that. Did Nuno? Did he try and shore it up by bringing QT on at the last minute? Did he go for a second goal? How did you see that?
I think maybe it's about the principles may be a bit different, similar but a bit different, because I could see when we were under pressure. We had some spells where we actually managed to have the ball recycled in the team. So it took off some pressure. I think that's very important because what we saw with Mourinho, we had all these waves of pressure. So I think he talks also about solutions. And the interview is always about finding solutions. So I think his man management skills and the bond with the players. It's a bit maybe strange to say this early, but it looks a bit like Pochettino early days. He's good with people. I think that's very important. I'm not sure about the tactics it's so different. I think he's very good with people. He comes across very balanced and calm as a person. Yeah, I think that is very important.
Okay, Nino. And Steve, Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Nina. Go
Yeah,
ahead,
sorry.
Nico.
Just it looked a bit like the organization was. They looked assured and they knew exactly what they had to do. Like the pressing, it looked methodical. It looked very drilled to me. So he has done
Okay.
obviously very good work on the pitch, training pitch. Yeah.
Yep. Thanks, Nico. Thanks for that. Steve, I mean, when previous times with Mourinho, when we 1-0 up, 10 minutes to go, I thought, we're going to concede, we're going to drop points, definitely. Did you have the same feeling yesterday, or were you sort of comfortable that we're going to see this out?
I'm not gonna lie, I was very comfortable.
Oh, good.
The one thing I would say is a world-class manager single-handedly wins you 15 to 18 points, single-handedly, just by their in-game decisions, their substitutions, their game management, and the way that they tactically set up. Right now, Mourinho, I'm not going to dispute, he was a world-class manager. And the fact of the matter is, he lost us 24 points from winning positions. Speaks volumes of where the game's moved on and the manager
and he
hasn't.
hasn't moved, yeah.
And you look at Nuno, I am going to say that obviously there's always a chance in football that you can score
Yeah,
from,
you can't, of
just
course,
a deflection, an own goal, a kind of a foul or anything like that. So there's always that element of, doubt in your mind. It's just natural. That's when you've got a 1-0 lead, that is natural to have a little bit of nerves. Otherwise, it's not football, right? But I was never like, oh my, City are on the attack. I was always confident. And Davinson Sanchez, as much as we give him stick, right now he is our best centre back option. Now, obviously, Romero hasn't had a chance to show what he can do. But of the current crop, he is our best centre back option. But again, I think that it was a shame that Bergvin didn't put that chance away, because not only for himself, for the team as well, because then we were literally coasting. I wasn't looking at the timer in the top right hand corner, and I wasn't thinking to myself, oh, we've got this much. I wasn't clock watching, and that's what I normally do when I'm nervous. And I literally, I
doing that,
didn't play. No.
And Steve, what about Sonny? I mean, obviously he scored the goal. Other than that, what was his performance like?
I think well, Son always plays well against City, so that's the first thing. You never doubt him against City. And the other thing that I actually like is arguably, I think that Son's best position is actually up front. Like, funnily enough, obviously he only gets the chance when Kane's not fit. But I think on the shoulder of the last defender, that's when he's at his most dangerous, because he does, like, remember the goal against was it Burnley, where he literally just ran through the whole team. Remember against Chelsea, where he just literally ran through. That sort of, like, where he's on the shoulder, he's very dangerous. What I've seen him so many times frustrating when he plays out wide, he tends to kind of do one thing too many, like a step over too many, and then it's just kind of like
he does too many step overs.
Or he'll try to take on a player twice when it's just like there was an easy ball on there, or he slows the game right down to a standstill and then does his little step overs or whatever. So I think that he's best suited, because there was every time, and I will say this, every time we attacked, I thought we were going to score. That's how confident I was. And we not only did the main thing that I noticed in terms of key differential was that we were winning every single second ball. So when City, if we lost the first ball, we were winning the second ball. And we always had somebody that if you had a knockdown, we were there to clear up the second ball from the knockdown. So we were so much, we ran. It would be interesting to see how much our team ran across to theirs. I'd say it was almost double.
Yep. I think it would. Okay. Niko, thoughts on Sonny? What did you think?
Yeah, I agree with Steve in terms of the central position. He's a very intelligent player also. So the only thing I would say is that we don't get carried away with this victory and think like we don't need more players in, or that is, I'm a bit afraid of Daniel Levy now trying to exploit the situation. And I want another defender, so I want and another striker. So, but he's so, not only is he intelligent, but he's so Tottenham through and through with his positivity, and he's just great ambassador for the club in the whole.
Okay.
So.
Well, excellent, guys. This has been really great input. Let's bring it to an end now. I'm going to ask Niko finally, what's happening with Harry Kane, and what do you think? You know, Steve's in the know, so we're going to come to Steve about that in a minute. He's got lots of inside information on that. Although he's laughing, he has got a lot of inside information. But is that the end now for Harry Kane? He's not in there. He's not even in the Europa Conference League squad. Is that the end now, Niko, at Tottenham for Harry Kane?
I hope so. I'm tired of the whole situation, and his silence is deafening.
Yeah, the silence is deafening, actually, yeah.
I want him gone because I want to focus on the team. I want more new players in. We need to shift the team. We've needed that for many seasons, and
sure.
I wish him the best. I want to move on.
Yep. And before we finish, Niko, your prediction for next week, Bern, is it Wolves away, isn't it, next week? What's your prediction?
Yeah, I thought about with the center backs and everything. We didn't meet these tall kinds of attacking players on set pieces and such. So I'm going to be a bit reserved with Sanchez and Dyer, because I remember last season when we had set pieces against us, we lost key duels, Dyer and Sanchez. So when they meet, like maybe it's Jimenez next time against the Wolves. So, but I think we have the positive momentum. So, and of course he knows Wolves, Nuno. So I'm positive. I would say 2-1 victory, 3-1.
Yeah, and just before I come to Steve, I think you raise a good point, Niko. It's just one win against City, which didn't have a lot of their best players. So let's not get carried away.
Yeah.
I see people on Twitter saying we're going to win the league, top 4, here we come, and all that. So I think we need to be careful about all of that stuff. But that's fine. We should enjoy it. We won against one of the best team in the league. We won. Why not? Should we enjoy that? So that's great. Steve, what's your thoughts? Harry Kane not in the East Europa Conference League, not even in the squad. Is that the end for him now at Tottenham?
Definitely not.
Okay.
The Europa Conference League squad, you have the ability to change it because the transfer window hasn't ended. So at the end of the transfer window, you can change it. I wouldn't read too much into that. And what you can do is, a lot of people were saying that during that Nuno may go with the policy of start with the youth players, get through the group stages with the youth, and then when the competition starts to get a little bit serious, then you can integrate the senior members. So I could even see a picture where we do this, where obviously the squad rotation is key. And we do have we had 4 players that weren't in the matchday squad yesterday. So we had, and they were senior players. So we had Tanguy out, we had Harry out, we had Joe Rodon out, and Aurier wasn't in the matchday squad. So we had 4 senior players that are on over 500,000 in wages, 500,000 a week in wages, not even making the matchday squad. So our squad's a little bit bloated. I can't see Harry leaving. Well, if he does leave, we're going to potentially have an issue with the homegrown quota. So there's an issue. That's a different issue. But I think that where you have that flexibility that he hasn't, even though he's named a squad for the Europa Conference League, come the end of August, you can rip up that squad and rewrite. If you signed 25 new players, you can name 20. It's meaningless. So I wouldn't read too much into that.
Okay. And what about Tonge and Dombele? Is he out? Is he on his way out as well, do you think?
I to be fair, the way that I'm reading this, I think Tonge could definitely leave. wouldn't surprise me. And a lot of clubs know what his ability and his skill set is. I just don't see where it's hard for him that he's come to a different country, doesn't speak the language, doesn't have many
He's been there
friends.
2 seasons now, Steve. He's been there 2 seasons. He's a young guy. He can adapt. If he wants to, you can do anything, really. It looks like his heart was never in it.
Well, he's on £200,000 a week, so
And how many games has he played for us?
He's never completed he's completed.
Yeah.
What, 3 90-minute games?
Exactly. Yeah. So,
Yeah.
but I mean, you think he could be on his way out. I think maybe he could be on his way out. If he goes, Kane goes, a few others, that could be more than, like you said, Steve, over 600k off the wage bill. You can get a lot of people on board for that.
Well, our net spend at the moment is what, minus 5 million.
Yeah.
Minus 5 million. So I wouldn't read too much into this that we're spending the Kane money. I think that we could be doing some smart business, potentially protecting our assets, keeping Kane, and then obviously, because if people catch wind that we're spending the Kane money, then obviously the
prices get inflated, won't they?
But then the Premier League has 100 million pound that comes in through TV revenue. We've got the Joshua fight and all the other bits going on in the background. We've got a new stadium where we're led to believe that we've got stadium naming rights. We've got our training kit's going to have a shirt sponsor on as well. So there's a lot of money there that we haven't spent. And if you look at the likes of our neighbours down the road, they've spent 50 million on Ben White. They bought Lakinga for what, I don't know, it was like 25 million. I don't know how much they spent on him. And there's talks that they're going to make Odegaard for like 30, 40 million. So there's definitely, if they're flexing their muscles, we haven't even begun. So
I totally agree with that. Yeah. What's your prediction for Wolves next week, Steve?
I'm going to go with 2-1 Spurs.
2-1, same as Niko.
What I do want to see is that I want to see us get really physical with Jimenez as well. Just if he's there, I appreciate he's obviously got a head injury. So I'm not saying it in a malicious way, but you kind of just leave a little bit on him, like a push, and then he'll just think twice. He'll think twice before going in again.
Yeah.
So just think old school defending. I'd like to see. Yeah.
Okay. Well, we'll close it up now. Niko, any final thoughts for you before we close the podcast?
No, I'm just very intrigued to see what's going to happen. I think also a lot will happen until the window shuts. So the all the puzzle and the pieces and everything will be. I think it will be a couple of more players in and out, and I really want to see Sissoko get out. We need better players.
Well, I don't know. I think Dyer played really well, and the thing is, if he could play like that every week, he'd be an amazing player. Yeah. But unfortunately, we all know he's ups and downs in terms of his form. But let's hope he can regain his consistency, because I think he could really be an asset. Steve, any final thoughts before we close the podcast?
I think that I wouldn't be surprised if Kane stays and signs a new long-term deal at Tottenham. I think that'd be
the best news. That would be the best news we could ever hope for, I think, if that's the case.
I think it's now or never. And obviously what's gone on has gone on. But I would not surprise me in the slightest if that happened, because the more that this is dragging on and we've not announced anybody, that just gives me that little inkling that this may not be going through.
But Steve, I have to ask you this question. Do you really think his heart is at Tottenham? Okay.
Do you know, I see, actually, I would say yes. I would say yes. Did I think that he would do this? I think that there's two sides to every story. So Sky are obviously gonna try and push him out. We've heard this for the last 5 or 6 years. Kane's going here, Kane's going there. Yeah, we would have paid off the stadium with all the Kane sale money for 5-6 years. So I think yes. I just think he's just had bad management, and that shows because his brother's his agent as opposed to a super agent. So yeah, I think like Mino Raiola would have put a release clause in his
Yeah,
contract.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Jorge Mendes
that's
would have put a release clause. And the only thing is, if that the second chance falls to Kane instead of Bergwijn, it's 2-0, obviously. So, those things make all the differences, don't they?
That's the difference. Yeah. He's still well close. I think that if he, I know as much as I want him to do this, I don't think we're ever going to get it. But if he came out, and let's just say the City move falls through, if he came out, made a video, gave his side of events, the fans would absolutely adore him more than what they do now. And those that are a little bit like 50-50 on him, they'll soon change their mind.
But there's a lot of hate towards him at the moment. But do you think he's 100%, guilt-free on this? He's made some mistakes, but people make mistakes. Just come out and say, look, I did this, maybe I shouldn't have done it, And I think you're right. The fans would accept that and just move on.
Yeah, that's why I think that it has gone. I don't want to see a text message or like a tweet or anything like that.
Yeah.
I actually want to see a video. I want to see a little bit of a personal touch and just come out and just say, look, and let's be honest, who wouldn't be tempted by Manchester City? Let's be honest. If someone said to you, I'll pay you an extra £50,000 to do exactly the same job you're doing, but you've actually got a chance of like progressing your career, who wouldn't do that?
Exactly. This is why nobody blames him for that. I don't think anybody blames him for doing that. But Steve, before we finish, Steve, do you want to share some? I know you're in the know. We should really put Steve Singh ITK after your name. But any little bits for me and Niko and all the people watching? Any sort of little bit of tidbits of news? Who we going after, etc.
Bring it.
There is no ITK from my side, man.
Tell us who we're going after. Who you think? You got sources? Tell us what you're hearing.
I think that the right back situation. I wouldn't be surprised if a deal for Tomiyasu came through. But again, it wouldn't surprise me if we went for a homegrown option at right back either. That wouldn't surprise me because it's just a case of a balancing act. At centre back, they're saying it's Milinkovic. I'd prefer Lacroix. He's another name that's been mentioned, who's a very good player, and Wolfsburg would sell him at a canter at £20 million. So he would definitely change us. I don't really know in the sense. Up front, Vlahovic. The names are out there, so it's Vlahovic is the one that they like. The only thing that we were assessing his videos of his footage, his goals. Worryingly, I think he scored like 20-ish goals. 6 of them were penalties, and none of them were from outside the area. So that's my worry. If you're spending,
so he's a fox in the box.
Fox in the box. He kind of reminds me of Christian Vieri. So I think that if anyone's old enough to remember him, he was a very good player. So if he can do half of what he can do, then I'd be happy with that. There is the young Georgian kid, the winger, who we've been heavily linked.
With name we can't even pronounce. Can you pronounce his name?
The name I call him Triple K. So
Donskoy?
No.
Kevelavki or something. We can't pronounce the name.
Kavici Kavachli, whatever his name is. Yeah, he's a very, very good player, and I do listen to a lot of podcasts and radio stations that cover international football, like Trans-European Express. There's quite a few that I listen to, the Totally Football podcast, and all of the big journalists are singing. They're literally ranting and raving about this kid, and he's a special talent. And at 15 million, it's a no-brainer. At 15 million, that's a deal. It's an opportunistic signing. And let's face it, he could be the next Nkudu, or he could be the next Tillemans. Who knows? But you got to be in it to kind of,
Who is this player? What player are you talking about?
He plays for Georgia. He plays for Rubin Kazan. If you look him up,
Yeah,
Just
look him up
looking.
in there. We can't pronounce the name. Okay, guys, listen, thank you very much for your time. Niko, really been a pleasure again, always, to have you on the show. And Steve, for your insights and everything. We must have you on more often because I think the fans really like you. And Niko, obviously, is building a brand as well. He's going to become a super fan. Thanks, guys. Really appreciate it. This is Ray in London for Spurs 9501. Please, if you like the content, please give us a like. If you like the channel, please subscribe. We'll have Steve and Niko again along in the season, giving their post-match analysis. But thank you, everybody, and we look forward to seeing you on the next podcast. Bye-bye.
Thanks.